want to explore something with something that's like a strong fear that hits in the moment. Let's say, I don't know, I lost that, or something important disappeared, and there's a very obvious rush of energy that takes you over. In that moment, it's obvious to me that I can open to it and it will dissipate. But what's not as clear is when there is a low-level discontent about something.
That low level of discontent, I'm so glad you're bringing it up, because that's exactly that low level of discontent that has the power to take us away from now.
That's it.
So even though we have the presence of mind, even though we've listened enough to satsangs or to other teachers or whatever who tell us in the moment is what it's all about, who you really are, okay, we still do not learn from it. We still want to fix it. We still want to get away from it. We still want to run. Okay, because there's a low level of discontent that has us captured. So the whole point is to keep doing it every time that you find yourself not happy, not loving. And when you start watching that low level of discontent, you become aware of it. Oh my goodness, I never knew it was there. This feeling is there all the time. The moment I get up in the morning, when I go to bed, all the time it's with me, this feeling of discontent. Well, the moment you start becoming truly aware of it, that very awareness itself already is getting you on top of it, because awareness is the key. You see? So thank you for bringing that up, because that level of discontent is what keeps 90% of the people who listen to these talks do not allow themselves to experience the fear. You know, leave me alone, I just want to get rid of it, I just want to do something, that's why pornography is so powerful now, because it's a great escape. Because at the moment you're watching it or masturbating or whatever you're doing, you are no longer, for those brief moments, you are forgetting yourself. You are being one in the moment, but it only lasts a few seconds, and after you feel dissipated or depleted of energy. But you see, this is why we do what we do all the time. We are seeking ourselves all the time through different things in order for us to feel that feeling, but we seek it externally instead of internally because of that one thing you just mentioned. That discontent that is always there and we're not aware of it. Okay? And it's a psychological thing. Because if you're human and you don't know that you are being, you don't know who you are, really who you are, that discontent, Course in Miracles calls it guilt, incidentally, in case you're aware of the Course. Calls it guilt. It's an inherent guilt. A feeling as if I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I'm missing something. I don't know what it is, but there's this discomfort. See, that's the discontent you were talking about. And that takes over. But as we become aware and keep practicing mindfulness or direct experience or witnessing or forgiveness, doesn't matter how you call it, it's all the same package. The moment we start doing that, it starts bringing us to the moment. Stillness, being still, taking a deep breath. And just look. Just be with what is. And then all of a sudden you begin to feel a peace that's coming, okay? Now that peace, for example, many people write me and they say, Bert, I had a wonderful experience. I know exactly what you're talking about. And for 2 days I was so high, but now I lost it. Okay? What has happened? They had experienced now, for the first time. That's what spiritual experience is. But you'll always now. And that is the kick in the pants, you see? There's never a time when you're not now. But the moment you experience it fully, it brings you back to your own being. Being. To be or not to be, said Shakespeare. And the point is to be. You see? So being is the love that you are. And the point is to keep going back to that. So in other words, be aware that what is holding you back, there's nothing holding you back. It is you holding yourself back because you don't want to be aware of the very thing that you've become so accustomed to, you think it's you. You see? Yeah.
Can you bring, is it a matter, I guess, of bringing choice into the
Yes,
moment?
yes, beautiful. The choice between love or fear is constant. Oh, that's another thing. All emotions are split into two. It's either love or fear. 95% of the time we are in fear. 5% of the time we are in love. Okay? So therefore we are choosing fear all the time. Even if we are in love with someone in a relationship and happy, the fear comes in. What if I lose them? What if they reject me? What if they don't love me back as much as I love them? What if this happens? The what if comes back again. We're choosing fear again. You see? We're so used to that all the time. But if we become aware of that choice, like you said, okay, that very awareness of that choice makes us aware that I keep choosing the negative because there is that discontent so much I've identified with. I think that this is who I am. And so we go back into our box, which is called our comfort zone. You see, because we're afraid of getting out of it. When a person becomes very depressed, you know what happens? They don't even want to leave their own home. Because they get so much in that box that it becomes a comfort zone, an escape from reality, an escape from who they are. And that's what is called clinical depression or a form of insanity. You see? We get so caught in that. The discontent that we're suffering all the time has become so real that we've identified with it as who we think we are.
I'm just amazed how you're explaining this, and it's all self-created.
It's all self-created. And this is where we have to take responsibility, the ability to respond to the moment. That's what responsibility is. Respond, the ability to respond now. Now I'm always perfect. Now I am as God created me. Now I am perfect. Now I am divine.
But you need to show up first.
But I need to show up, which is through the awareness of it. And so I love what you said about discontent, that mild discontent. It's always nagging there. Okay, the Course calls it guilt. It's a feeling of, discontent. You see? And if we get in touch with that, be aware of it, say thank you the moment you become aware of it, and just keep experiencing it as something that your mind created. Don't blame yourself, because that's another choice for fear. Okay, you're always okay, you're always alright. You're beautiful just as you are. Okay? And when you start looking at that, you'll find how beautiful you really are. Yeah.
Do you think maybe that feeling of discontent or guilt or whatnot is not necessarily a negative thing? It's meant to be
But like what I'm saying, and this is beautiful that you're saying it. All suffering from negativity, from guilt, from whatever we're experiencing is there because it is to teach us something. The key is, are we learning what we need next? Or are we continuing making ourselves wrong for it? If you feel angry in the moment, there's nothing wrong in being angry in the moment, knowing that it's only the moment. You see, the point is that is not who you are. That is a momentary reaction to a particular situation, and it's perfectly normal and human. So you don't see anything as wrong. Well, the moment you don't see anything as wrong, you're no longer caught in it. You're no longer identified with it. And that very lack of identification brings you back to loving who you are. You see, I'm always okay. Even when the negative shows up, even when that shows up, even when guilt shows up, I am okay. But the moment it shows up, I need to look at it. Because if I don't, I identify with it as who I am. You see? So that is the difference. Thank you again. When you ask a question, you always make it a little easier to be understood. Okay, so are we clear about that? Okay, namaste.
That discontent, is that like almost like a natural part of being the human, to call us
Yes.
to our greatness?
Yes, it's the human calling us to our greatness. This is why we need to learn from whatever happens to us and call nothing wrong. You know what is the beautiful thing about a child? When you see them playing, walking around naked, it's their innocence, it's their beauty. They don't see things wrong. But then we say, naughty boy, don't do that. We've already instilled some guilt now. We already taught them the first lesson. This is wrong. You see? I was brought up in a religion where it taught me that sex is a sin. If you die in mortal sin, you go to everlasting punishment in hell. I was brought up that way. And it took me a long time to clean myself out of that teaching. You see, I was an innocent boy going to school, and they were teaching me this garbage. And many people are receiving this garbage. You are not wrong in anything you do. You are beautiful just as you are. And when you start seeing that, or whenever something happens, it is not you, it is what is happening to you, and you look at it. You look at it by being still. Look at it. What shape is it taking? What form? What action is happening? And the moment you begin to look at it, you feel it immediately. The load has lifted. There's something that is happening now. It is so simple if we learn to use it as a lesson. So this is the next step. What you need is whatever is bothering you. The moment you deal with it, that is all you need. You don't need any religion, you don't need any particular teaching, you don't need to follow any guru, any teacher, you don't need to go any place, you just need to listen to your own heart. You know, this is so, so beautiful. Did you ever ask how Namgyal comes up with such fine, brilliant? Because he has been able to sit and listen, whatever comes. It took me 27 years to come to that point of listening to my inner being, which I call the Holy Spirit. But when we start listening to ourselves, we'll find all knowledge is right there. Because we are the moment itself. And all we have to do is just be in that moment. And then that moment teaches us everything very clearly. So, okay, I didn't say namaste, but we went on. So, is there another question or anything at all? And we call it a day.
I want to talk more.
What's that?
Keep talking. I want to talk.
Okay, do you have any, is everything clear what I said?
I was just feeling in here the dance of we seem to because of our perceived separation with life and God, we think of ourselves as bad in some way.
Yes.
And so we actually, and then being reinforced from the outside that we need to be a different way, we strive to become something we're not. And what an internal dilemma.
Of course.
If that doesn't create a low level
We don't know how to
grinding.
be who we are.
Yes, and we'd when we open to the helplessness of what is and of what carries us in life, it's so raw that my sense is that we actually threaten some people around us. That when you are being very beautiful, yes, people can see that. They're both attracted, but it also reflects their pain of living separately from that. So until you have the maturity to embrace yourself in that helplessness, you're very susceptible to a cultural training.
So beautiful. When you can embrace that helplessness. Did you hear what has been said? Do you see the gem in that? To embrace that helplessness. And that is the whole key. I had a woman, a businesswoman, and this was a few months ago, and I had a Skype session with her. And she was ready to commit suicide because something happened in her family, suicides and everything else. So she was on the verge of desperation. But anyway, we talked about it, I'll make a long story short. And she was telling me how deeply depressed, she cannot work, she cannot do anything. And I said, what is depression? And then because she studied psychology, she said, well, depression is this, is this, is this. No, I said, right now, what does depression feel like? And she still didn't get it, and she kept on, giving me psychological understanding of it. And I said, right now, stop for a moment. You are depressed. What are you feeling? And finally she said it, I feel helpless. I said, that's it. I said, now for homework, after we finish this Skype session, I would like you to feel helpless and to allow that helplessness. There's nothing the ego can do to change it. Nothing. You are totally helpless. And she focused on it. 2-3 days later, she wrote me an email and she said, Bert, all depression has gone. I feel like a changed person. I think a week later, she wrote me another email and she sent me a big check. But something else happened. Now she is giving classes in overcoming depression through mindfulness, through witnessing.
That's beautiful.
She's talking to a lot of group sessions. So, but yeah, she was so depressed, and she was so desperate that when I was talking, she must have really trusted me. When I was talking to her, she immediately became present, and she listened. And so when I said, that's it, now listen to this word, helpless. You are totally helpless. And there's nothing you can do about it. Because the human part of you, the ego part of you is totally helpless. But when you allow that helplessness to be, another force comes in. A divine energy comes in and guides you. You see? And so this is what happened. And she's a totally changed woman. Her name is Ingrid. She's a German lady. But anyway, she didn't want me to give too much information about her because of what happened. So anyway, but the point is that she's completely changed just from a session because she was so ripe, so ready. And she was willing to do anything. She didn't want to take that plunge into suicide, okay? She just wanted to look at it. See, the moment we want to look at something, to look at the truth as it is, as what is at the moment, which is helplessness. That's so beautiful what you said. The moment you allow that, you embrace it, there's a transformation right there. You see? We as an ego are helpless, but we want to be in control. You see? And now here's a paradox. Are you with me so far? You're going to see something that is really a kick in the pants. The moment you give up trying to control yourself, you are in full control. How many of you understood what I just said?
It's you now have the driver in the right place.
Oh, wow. Hey, what a metaphor. That's right. That's right. You have the driver in the right place where you ought to be. Yeah. Such joy.
That harks back to, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
What you were saying about responsibility, and what you were talking about with fear and love. Like, having one at the forefront, like having love there, is just the lack of fear. having the fear there is just the lack of love.
Very good.
So there's two sides to every one point, kind of.
That's
thing.
right. That's
so that
right.
responsibility is the ability to respond to either or within that one moment.
Beautiful.
So that's essentially
That's
what brings you into the moment.
That's right.
Very good.
And when you allow yourself the chance to respond, are you going to choose the negative or the love? Because the moment you are responsible in the moment you respond, who in his crazy mind would choose fear again and continue being in fear when you're suffering, you see? You brought yourself into enough awareness, which is responsibility, the ability to respond, and I choose love. Now what do you do to be love, to choose love?
Be.
Nothing at all. Just be. With whatever is. And if you feel right now helpless, be helpless. You see? Just take a deep breath. I always say take a deep breath, because this is something I learned through doing Qigong and doing yoga and all this. And it has taught me that when you take a deep breath, the mind all of a sudden becomes present. The breath is always in the moment. You don't do any breathing. The breath breathes you, right? We know that. The body breathes you. When the moment you bring yourself, you take a deep breath, that very moment of taking a deep breath, you become present. And then you look at it. And so what you're doing is you're coming into that now. And you, for a moment, you transcended time. The moment you transcend time, you are there.
It doesn't even have to be a deep breath, just awareness.
Oh,
of
no,
breath.
no. Right, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Especially awareness of the top of the breath.
Yeah.
Just when you're ready to exhale, it's sort of a spot where there's neither inhale or exhale.
Uh-huh.
And that's
very good. Yes, yeah, there is. That's right. You take a deep breath.
That's the ultimate now.
And that's right. And that in the middle point. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You see, to become as present as we can in the moment. You see, and once we start feeling that moment, infinitesimal moment, we'll find that infinitesimal moment is eternal. Isn't that another kick in the pants, eh? You see what I mean? Like something that happens in a millisecond is also unchanging and beyond time. See, that's when we begin to realize our true nature. See how beautiful it is, but we have to stop, be still, and know I am God. You see, and that is the whole thing. So
tonight, here, I think, I don't know, but that moment seemed to be very present. I mean, was there not some magic in this room tonight?
yes.
And that magic is the elixir that floats all our boats.
Right. Yeah. See, we're always looking for that elixir. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, when I was a kid, I used to love ice cream. You know, and I long for that licking and being one with that ice cream, because it brings me totally now. You see, it doesn't matter how you phrase it. We're always looking for that moment. You see, watching a hockey game if you're a hockey fan.
Mm-hmm.
You see, or a baseball game you know, if that's what turns you on, everything that keeps you totally here now is the joy of your spirit. You see? It's the aliveness of you. You watch a symphony, you watch a show that is so well acted, so well done, takes you away. One time Gene Kelly, who used to be my idol, I love tap dancing and I still can tap dance. And Gene Kelly has always been my great idol as far as dancing goes, the song and dance man. And one time he was interviewed and he said, you know, when you talk about and you do a dance, you know, like singing in the rain, you know, and he says, you're totally there. And he says, yeah, because when I am playing, I'm in love. I'm truly in love. I'm in love in that moment, you see, and I feel it completely. You see? So, so that is the key all the time that we're striving for. It doesn't matter what the action is. You see, we become one with it.
I'm just hearing too how pleasure is just such a beautiful part of being human.
Yes.
I mean, for food, for whatever.
Yes, to be grateful for being human, with all the fear, with all the pain, with all the suffering, and you can use it all to enrich you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is the key. Not to get rid of it,
Right.
but to use it as your lesson.
But isn't that why we're here? Like,
Yes,
I mean,
of course,
it's
to
why we're
evolve.
here.
We are here to evolve from human to being. You see? Yes. We forget the being, unfortunately, but being is being. It has no time. And so as we evolve, the human and the being become one, integrated. And that's what Ramana Maharshi became, a total human being. You see?
When you said that wonderful statement, abiding, when people touch the magic or when the magic touches them, then they try to take the then and put it into the now,
Mm-hmm.
and they get caught in that same trap. And the but, it's like we're there, and then there's the buts that take us off. But Bert, but me, but no, but.
And who is it
if we
that
could-
does that?
If we could only, I think that, waking up is like getting off your butt.
Hey, that's good. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it wants to suck you back in,
Yes.
and
Yes.
there
Yes.
is no but.
No.
The but
That
separates.
but is the fear that we
Yes.
don't want to go ahead. But what if this happens? You see, there's always that fear of taking that step.
And the but's usually the story of
This
Yes.
whatever
Right.
you're made up of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
So by that.
But how sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thank you all.